Hi, I'm Larry Dignan with Constellation Insights, and we're here with Sarah Cusack. She is the Director of Learning and Development at SavATree and a SuperNova 2025 winner. Hi, Sarah. Thanks for joining.
Hi, Larry. Thanks so much for having me. Excited to talk about the project.
Yeah, so we talked about this a little bit at Constellation Connected Enterprise, but let's just recap. What was your project? And I guess just run me through the details.
Yep, absolutely. So our project was implementing a new self-directed advancement program for our field staff. We are in the tree care industry, so we have about 2,500 field employees who are responsible for our tree maintenance, plant health care, and lawn care. So this project was all about taking what was previously a very basic pen and paper system for training modules and putting that into a learning management system, which we used UKG for this project, and making a lot of improvements to that project to make it more accessible to our field employees through their mobile devices, making it available in the languages that they all speak, and reducing our turnover that was related to career development and promotions that tended to occur as a result of either documentation getting lost and promotions not occurring, or human error when grading exams, or simply having to wait for a person's manager in order to have those career development opportunities rather than having them readily available to them right on their devices. So
what was your approach to making, training more palatable to frontline workers? I guess just compare and contrast the before and after.
Yep, absolutely. So what we, I think, did a great job of was tying it very directly to advances in their career and advances in their pay, most importantly. So previously, it was a lot more difficult for them to get access to training materials to move up to the next level. Whereas now we have everything automated based on job title, so that, for example, someone at a Technician 3 level always has the ability to advance into Technician 4 and has those materials ready for them, so that they can see and take into their own hands their development and have visibility into what promotions they are eligible for, or cross-training opportunities as well. And then the second piece I'd say about that is the gamification aspect that we implemented with UKG, where we have leaderboards available for everyone in the company to compare how much training and learning they have done in comparison to their peers, which I know at our company, competition always sparks a little bit more interest in training.
So did you interview the frontline workers ahead of time, or I guess what was the back and forth with them?
Yep, absolutely. So we had to involve people from all levels of the organization. So our frontline employees, the frontline managers who spend all this time training and grading exams for their employees, and our subject matter experts in each service line that have insight into what kind of scientific, technical training do we need, and what's the best methodology to get that training across to our employees, be that in video, written form, audio, field training, etc.
How long did it take to implement UKG?
It took about 1 year to implement all of the modules that we ended up implementing. The learning management system specifically took about 4 months to implement.
Okay. And then you just kind of scaled it from there.
Right. Yep. We started with our self-directed advancement program, since that was the biggest opportunity for improvement and the impact of the largest employee population group. And then from there, we've also added on our leadership training modules, compliance training, etc.
What's the most important thing when you're targeting frontline workers? I mean, I assume the mobile platform's pretty big.
Absolutely. That's an imperative for our staff. They're a dispersed workforce who often don't come into an office, don't have access to a computer or a laptop, but we do provide cell phones to all of our employees, or stipends, so that they can use their devices. So having our training be mobile compatible and available in multiple languages was non-negotiable for us.
And what were your KPIs and our returns there?
Yep, absolutely. So we were looking at the turnover as our number one metric to see whether we were moving the needle on what was engaging our employees with our promotion opportunities, and fortunately saw a 6% decrease in turnover before this program and after, that was directly tied to the leave reason of promotion or career advancement. So that's not just all turnover, that's specifically what people were saying was their reason for leaving, being career advancement, had decreased by 6%. So that was a very exciting cost savings in terms of the turnover. We also saw a huge increase in engagement once we implemented this program, and we had used Gallup for our engagement surveys in the past, and we saw a measurable and significant increase in the question that asks about career development and promotion as well for that. So those were our two biggest targets that we were looking at in terms of KPIs. And then of course there were ancillary benefits like our increase in revenue per hour per person as people become more trained and also more versatile in the services that they can provide. We also saw an increase in our customer engagement scores. So training really hits on every single metric that we measure in some way or another. So it was exciting to see improvements in each one.
And I think you had a pretty decent dollar figure saved too, right?
We did. We had about a 1.5 million in cost savings, taking into account the reduced turnover, increased engagement, decreased time to fill positions when we did lose someone because there were more TA resources available there. We saw a decrease in cost in printing and so many opportunity costs from simply not having to take so much time to train each new person because we were keeping more people. They were more engaged in bringing in other high quality people through our referral program because they were so excited about working with us. Yep, lots of great savings that added up to that 1.5 million figure.
What wound up being your most valuable KPI, or I guess what was the thing that you took away from the project that you were most interested in?
For me, it was all about the turnover metric and being able to tie that turnover specifically to the reason of career advancement and promotion. We are a industry at large that has a very high turnover on average. So being able to have this competitive advantage against our competitors and have a very structured training program that often is sometimes lacking in our industry, it really did make a difference, which it was great to see our hypothesis that would make a big impact pay out this way.
Did you have to convince upper management on the training thing at all? Because I know training is, it's usually viewed as, I don't know, it's kind of chore, just something you have to do. It's a compliance thing. I guess how did you get buy-in on, the training could move the needle?
Yep, that's a great question. And I was fortunate to have done an ROI analysis on training with my previous tree care company. And then when I did this project for SavATree, I provided them that research, showed the results that we got from our previous program. And we're also very fortunate to have an executive team that's very technology forward and technology facing, very willing to try new things, pilot programs, and implement new solutions when, shown evidence that it has worked in the past. So fortunately for our company, it was not too big of a hurdle. They're very interested in using technology, and we all see it as our competitive advantage again within our industry that's historically not been on the forefront of technology implementation.
What do you think people miss, or what do you think CXOs miss about frontline workers?
It's the direct and tangible tie to how your programs will help them advance in their careers, and tying that specifically to what they're asking for in a very black and white way, as in you complete this course, you will receive this promotion and pay increase, and then following up with that timely. We, in our past system, also saw delays in promotions or pay increases just because of the paperwork that was involved and the documentation being lost or handled by different people. So having it centralized and being able to expedite that process and get someone their pay raise in the same week that they complete their course was hugely motivational. And I think that can be missed sometimes in larger companies.
Yeah, that's a good point. What do you think the future holds in terms of, I've seen a lot of talk about AI and frontline workers and things like that. I guess how do you think, what's your plans for the future, or how do you think AI affects the frontline worker?
AI is a great tool to help expedite some of the processes that are more technical or policy driven in nature. And what we're doing with our approach is making sure we're keeping what is at the heart authentic, and having those messages from our leadership or our frontline leaders as well still be authentic, having videos from them directly to our employees, having them speak to our employees. And when it's something concerning our mission, vision, or values, that those things are always authentic and 100% human. We can have AI do some of our policy course creation or the things that we need to make sure are standardized into a certain standard. But when it comes to things that are really important to our people, we're keeping those as authentic as possible.
All right. Thanks for joining us, and congrats.